Welcome to the Stupid Nerdcast. Today we have Juan as level 20 Cleric, and Zach as Raziel, and as Spider-Mats, and of course Jordan as Stupid Nerdman. Let's begin.
Okay.
I
guess we can start.
I said let's begin.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, so I want to talk about a couple things that happened recently. So I don't know if you guys know, but a couple years ago there was a big change in like the way Smite was running its pro circuit, where it like dissolved all the orgs and basically made all sponsorship go through high res itself. And like it was like a super risky move. Like it could have like killed their whole competitive scene to do that. But the reason they figured was that if they like killed all the orgs, they could use high res's standing for sponsorship deals instead of like the individual org standing, and thereby get bigger deals, so that their competitive scene would have more money in it, and thereby you would have a better salary as a player. I think it worked out better for American players than it did for any other country, but yeah. So anyway, very recently, because of this, they now have a deal with Alienware. So Alienware is now a big sponsor of Pro Smite. They're giving every pro a $5,000 computer.
Dang.
The reason this is important is because Alienware used to have an exclusive deal with Riot Games, in which they were sponsoring like they would sponsor individual orgs, I think, for some things, but their only like organization or like big esports thing itself they sponsored, I think, was only Riot.
Riot's
like
League of Legends, right? Okay.
Yeah, but because of the way the stuff in-house in Riot is going on, Alienware didn't feel like they wanted to be associated with the company anymore.
So what was in-house going on with Riot? I didn't hear any about that.
It's like a weird frat house place where people like fucking sexually harass people all the time and like get promoted for it.
Oh, that sounds okay.
Yeah, it's like Ubisoft.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool with the $5,000 computers to people who professionally play like Paladins and Smite and shit.
Yeah, but Paladin and Smite, it's probably gonna be their whole thing. I don't know if anybody plays the other one. What is it? Rogue Company?
I haven't even heard of it.
They have another one?
Yeah, they have a third game.
I know they have that Smite card game, but I didn't know about any other one.
No, I think that died.
Oh. That didn't last very long.
No, it didn't. It lasted about as long as the Dota card game.
Right. Apparently...
No one wants fucking card games.
I watched a video, I think, by Moist Critical, Penguin Zero, Charlie, whatever, however people know him. He did I think it was him. He made a video about the Dota card game, about how no one watches it. And it was like one of the biggest streaming platforms on Twitch because people would put... Well, not really. It wasn't a big streaming platform. It was one of the places where people would put stuff that like normally Twitch wouldn't allow and just put it under that because moderators wouldn't even check it. So like they'd put like porn on it, they'd put like old movies on it, they'd put all sorts of shit on there. And that's where they'd put it because no one would even care enough to even moderate it.
Genius.
I don't think they do it anymore, but apparently that was a thing.
Yeah.
The internet sometimes.
Valve basically like abandoned the card game pretty quickly, and then they came back and tried to like rebuild it, and then they couldn't get enough player support to finish the rebuild.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
So they just dropped it.
it's just another card game. It's just another Hearthstone, you know?
No, it didn't play anything like that.
Well, that's how people feel about card games now from games.
That's
and
how I
stuff.
feel about card games.
Like, some card games are fun. Like, Magic and stuff, they're completely different. But then every, like, video game card game, it's like... It feels like they're just... Why not just play the video game that they're based on, you know?
It's like, you know, Gwent plays completely different than any other card game, and it's in one of my favorite universes, so you think I'd be all for it. Nope, don't give a shit about it.
Right.
Just I'm not interested in card games.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of card games either. I love board games, but card games, I can't deal with them.
Yeah. The Dota one was a board game, like, realistically, but it was not a good one.
I see.
Well, it might have been a good one. It wasn't a popular one,
Right.
which is more important. Yeah, and so that's a cool thing for Smite and Paladins and shit. $5,000 computers, and
Mm-hmm.
that's also probably a lot of money bringing in for high res for the tournament, so that they can give proper salaries to people and stuff.
Right.
Okay, but also in non-gaming news, I will come back to gaming news in a minute. But in non-gaming news, tomorrow something was supposed to be announced, but somebody on the European version of the Dragon Ball website accidentally leaked that there will be a new Dragon Ball movie coming in 2022.
Oh. Which one? What, like, I haven't been keeping up with the manga or anything, or the show since after the whole
It's
fight.
only the manga. There is no show.
Oh, okay.
The show is Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which is every character from Dragon Ball that you've ever dreamed of fighting every other character in Dragon Ball that you've ever dreamed of for about 30 seconds
That's
before
the
it switches characters.
That's the new show. That's the new movie or whatever.
No, that's the currently running advertisement for a card game thing that is running.
Right. Okay. That's weird.
We don't have any details on the movie because I think they're all supposed to come out tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
All we got was the leak that it was coming tomorrow.
That the announcement's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the announcement coming. The reason why it would come on May 9th and why that's important is because Goku's name can be read as 5'9", so May 9th is Goku Day.
Oh, I see.
So basically, anything about Dragon Ball gets announced on May 9th.
I see. Has that always been true?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Huh.
In the show, very briefly, it becomes Piccolo Day because Piccolo takes over the world as like a joke about Goku Day. But yeah, May 9th is usually when something new in Dragon Ball will get announced.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Also, since we haven't had anything Dragon Ball for like 2 years outside of the manga.
Right. Last thing we got was Broly, right?
Mm-hmm. And Broly was pretty good, so if it's gonna be pretty decent, it'll be worth watching.
Yeah.
Especially for Kira, she loves Dragon Ball.
Yeah. I mean, Dragon Ball's a good show, and it's one of those that really catches kids' attention because it's just so sparkly. So much light. So many colors.
It is very sparkly. There's lots of auras and shinies and giant energy beams.
Random lightning bolts that don't make sense.
And screaming. Don't forget the screaming.
Yes, a lot of screaming. That's the main show. It's just screaming.
And very campy Frieza.
Right.
Alright. So back to game news. I think it was announced the other day that TBC Classic pre-patch will open on May 18th. And the TBC Classic itself will open on June 1st, I think. Which means that you have 2 weeks to play the pre-patch, which is way shorter than the original TBC pre-patch.
Wasn't the
How long did the
pre-patch like a
original go
month
for?
or something?
I think it was 6 weeks.
Oh wow.
I was close.
So you only have 2 weeks to try and get a Blood Elf or Draenei to level 60 in time for the Dark Portal to open.
Well, at least people don't have to pre-buy it first before that happens, though, now.
Yeah, I guess so. Also, they have a weird season pass thing, or Dark Portal Pass, I think is what they called it. It's fucking like gross money thing where it's like, here's to give us money and we'll give you a free booster token for one of your characters. And
For Classic?
yeah.
Hmm.
But it won't give it to you
Oh, boy.
for a Blood Elf or Draenei, but it'll give you for anything else.
That's just silly.
Which is kind of gross, but I don't know. They also have like a fucking digital deluxe edition or something for it.
Yeah, you got like a bunch of like electronic stuff and like all their other games. It's par for the course these days.
Yeah. It just makes the whole thing feel a little gross because Classic didn't have any of that, and now it's like Activision clearly like jamming in a bunch of extra stuff for money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I don't know, but when May 18th rolls around, I probably will be playing that.
May 18th.
Yes.
I'm still bouncing back and forth between whether or not I'd really want to play, classic TBC. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I
It
know
did get
is
a
that
little
I'm going to at least
grindy.
try it again.
Yeah, I feel like it's worth at least giving a shot too.
Let's play on an RP server!
Do those exist?
Yes. In
think
Classic?
there's still
Yeah,
in
there's a
Classic,
lot
yeah.
in Classic. I think there's more in Classic than there are in regular World of Warcraft now.
Yeah, we can do that. See what happens.
Yes.
You're so weird.
I know.
Fuck.
I don't know what I'm gonna be yet, but I'm gonna RP, and I'm gonna RP it great. I'm
I
gonna.
can't play Goblin yet.
I know, right? That's my favorite. Goblins are one of my favorite race. I don't know if you've noticed, but every chance that Goblin is the race that can be whatever class I want to play, I'm always a Goblin or that stupid furry thing now. Mostly Goblin.
Is it the best race for Orc?
Goblin is the best race for Orc.
It really is.
I believe it is. Yes.
Yep. Can't
But-
confirm.
I'm just saying in Warhammer they're the same race pretty much. So.
Yeah, they're just different mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in the regular retail World of Warcraft, the main reason I made the furry thing is because I really wanted to try it, and it is kind of like the alternate Goblin, because the Alliance version is the Mecha Gnomes. They're the version of the Voltramite furry thing, whatever the fuck they're called, I don't remember. And so that
You
makes.
just call them Beltramite?
Sorry, I got Invincible on the mind. Anyway,
Volpira.
You mean Volpira?
Volpira, yes, the Volpira. They're essentially like just furry goblins, is how I feel like they are. That's why I was kind of wanting to make them. But I'm probably gonna delete all of them except my hunter that I made, and just go back to being goblins.
Weird.
Part of me feels like if we dived into classic stuff, I'd naturally gravitate towards whatever fucking class can tank at the time. But I don't know.
You always seem to be a tank.
Paladin.
You are always the tank.
It's going to be
I am.
Paladin or Feral Druid. Those are like the two TBC best tanks.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I ran Feral Druid, Zach ran Paladin.
They're both very good in TBC. They're very, I think they're situationally better. I think like some boss fights you want the Druid and others you want the Paladin. But like I think for dungeons, Paladin is better because it has the better AoE control. But
Right.
Well, the thing is, I really liked. The thing I like is the talent system of like classic and stuff, because you could be hybrid a lot easier. You know?
Right,
Yes.
actually having talents.
Yeah, instead of
Yes.
just picking one of 3 shit.
Yeah, the talent system is one of my main things from Classic that I wish was back.
Yeah, me too. That's the main reason I would go to Classic is the talent system.
Yeah, in retail, I do not like the talents. It makes it like it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna pick what I feel I like the most, and then I'm just gonna ignore it the entire game.
Yeah. Maybe I'll switch it every now and then when I'm at an inn or something. Or even like at the beginning of an instance, you get like 10 seconds to switch it or something, don't you? So it's
Yeah.
like, and you can switch specialization whenever the fuck you want. So it's not like you're ever permanent. I literally, on my druid, I've been having an agility staff and a healing staff, just in case I decide to either do damage or healing that time. I can do it whenever the fuck I want.
Yeah, the only time I look at my talent screen now is when I'm in Torghast, and it's like getting this talent, and I have to open the thing and try to figure out what talent that is.
Right. See if you already have it, and if there's another one worth taking that, it's worth getting that if you already have it.
Yeah, it's like...
On the inverse, though, if you're doing like higher end mythic content, you're actually buying consumables so you can change your fucking talents from, doing AoE trash to like single target boss kills. Or if you're PvPer, basically every time I go into the arena, I look at the enemy team comp and I'm like, okay, this talent's better against this class, let me change this and switch to that. And
Right.
it's a duality of man, definitely.
It's just, the PvP in World of Warcraft is just, I can't get back into it. I was into it a long time ago, I can't get back into it at this point. It's just too...
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I
mean,
just
like
can't
maybe when we play TVC Classic, maybe we'll get back into it then, because maybe it'll feel better.
Mhm.
But right now, it's like I have no intention of playing PvP. Just like looking at that's the weekly thing this week to get. This week you can do PvP and you get like 5 Marks of Honor tokens or whatever. You can take those to Orgrimmar or whatever and get old PvP sets.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but I don't know if I care.
It just doesn't feel good, considering I haven't PvP'd in such a long time, walking into an arena or a battleground and instantly being mashed to death in like half a second. It just doesn't feel good.
The few arenas you did, you got really unlucky with us, just because we were literally getting thrown against dudes that were in like the PvP equivalent of having full-on mythic raid gear.
Yeah, but
So-
even if I did have the gear, I feel like since I hadn't done it in such a long time, I still wouldn't really have a chance to actually survive very long. I would have been holding you guys back either way.
Well, yeah, you got to practice it. You got to get back in the groove of it.
Yeah. For me,
And you never know.
it's just this Smite and Dota exist. I'd rather play one of those.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I want to do, like, a quick arena bullshit, I'll just play arena on Smite, and I'll have probably more fun than if I tried to do arena on World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe my Demon Hunter. Maybe my Demon Hunter would be kind of fun to play in arenas and shit, but I definitely don't want to play a caster anymore.
Oh, no. I would not recommend casters at all. Fucking PvP. Except for maybe mages.
Yeah, it was different when I had, like, 47 different cooldowns and 100 million action bars and just had to press whatever I needed at the right time. But now it's like everything feels so homogenized on my Warlock that it doesn't even feel like I would want to do this in PvP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the reason I'd say it's okay for being like a mage or something, like a fire mage especially, is because, half their spells as a fire mage are, you can make them instant cast, or you can, what am I trying to say? You can use Scorch, which is you can cast while moving, so it's like you don't have to stand still. But if you have to cast something while you have to stand still, you're pretty much going to be dead. You're going to get hit with interrupts, you're going to get hit with stuns, you're going to be mashed to death in an instance if you have to stand still. You're gone.
Is that one of the reasons why Shaman is a good PvP healer? Is because of Spirit Walking, where they can just heal while moving?
Yeah, that and their mastery makes them really powerful, because the lower health the target is, the more healing they do. So,
yeah.
With how spiky PvP is right now, like someone bursts you down low, the freaking shaman can burst you back up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know Jordan gave me a bunch of shit for stealing that trinket when we were doing Mythic, but I like looked at like all the Mythic trinkets, and is literally one of the best melee DPS trinkets in the game. So it's like I don't really have a choice. Both like the best melee DPS ones that I would want do like nature damage for passive ones. There are a couple active ones for shadow damage, but the other ones do nature damage, and my stuff my mastery only scales with chaos damage, which I don't have on any trinket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was like, yeah, but it's also my best in slot. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it did drop for you, so it was yours. You don't have to give it to somebody, you know.
No, I get it, and I it's not that I didn't want to give it to him. It's just like it was so good for me, and then like I looked it up, and it's like I'm not really gonna get anything better either. So,
well, I don't.
It's not like I had a choice of going like, oh no, I was gonna get something better. Here you go. It's like, no, I need it. Sorry.
I also don't think he was really giving you shit. He was just like,
yeah, no. I know. It was just because it scales with his mastery, and I was just like very greedily, just like, no, I'm gonna keep this.
Right. I do like playing with him. You should. Have you talked to him about like playing Risk of Rain and stuff like that? I know you talked to him about Dota and stuff, but have you talked to him about like Risk of Rain? Because he might like Risk of Rain if he likes shooters.
I know he's not the biggest shooter buff in the world, and the time he does get is kind of limited, so it might be kind of difficult for him to split his focus, but
right.
It's worth bringing up.
I'd also point out that Risk of Rain is not really a shooter.
Well, yeah, but it's more of a shooter than it is like an action RPG or an MMO or anything.
I guess so. I mean, you shoot, but that's about
therefore
where
it's a shooter.
Ends.
It's a shooter because
that
you shoot.
Logic,
I'm just saying.
that logic, World of Warcraft is also a shooter if you play Hunter.
It is. If you play a Hunter, World of Warcraft is a shooter. I play Hunter.
Shut up.
If I am Beastmaster or Marksmanship, I am always playing in first person. Even though it doesn't matter that what I'm actually looking at, like it actually does in a shooter, I still play in first person just because I find it funny.
No, you don't. Stop lying to everybody.
That's true, I don't. But I play Survival Hunter anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
Anyway, okay, what was the other thing I wanted to talk about now at this point?
You wanted to talk about Mark. Mark.
Mark. Later. I don't want to talk about Mark yet. Well, one more thing I wanted to talk about. I just finished this week. I finished watching the HBO Watchmen show. Did either of you ever watch that?
Nope.
No. Is that like the Watchmen Saturday in the morning? Oh boy, Adrian, someone's poisoning the water drain. This looks like a job for the Watchmen.
Please stop before we get copyright claimed.
Really? Can we get copyright claim for me badly quoting a video that's fucking 20 years old?
Yep.
Really?
You just gotta say in Minecraft afterwards.
Oh yeah, in Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
So anyway, the thing I was gonna say about the Watchmen show, I wanted to say, it's really good. It's definitely worth the watch. However, if you have not read the Watchmen graphic novel, it is not going to be as entertaining for you as someone who has.
What about if you just watch the movie?
No.
Okay, so you have
because
to
the major plot points that are different or that are important to this story are the differences between the movie and the comic.
Okay, well, it doesn't cover that in the show. You kind of have to read the comic, or what?
It vaguely covers it, but there's like a lot of stuff that's left out. Like just watching the movie, you'd have so little information as to what's happening.
Well, the thing is, if you're gonna watch a show, you'd think that they'd cover the important stuff in the show, in the media that they're creating.
A lot of the important stuff is done, but you still have to. I'd say at minimum you have to have watched the movie. Because you have to know who, like, Adrian Veidt, Dr. Manhattan, and Silk Spectre are.
Well, if you know who the Watchmen are, you know who all of them are. They're like the main characters. And the
anyway, there's some other characters. Okay, shut up. So there's anyway. One of the main things it does is it expands on one of the old Minutemen characters, who I don't think is even in the movie, because I don't think the Minutemen are even in the movie. But are like a huge part in the comic book. In the comic book, there's like several storylines running at once. There's the current storyline, which is finding out who murdered the comedian. There's the past storyline, which is about the Minutemen and everything they did. And then there's like the middle storyline, which is like what happened that led up to the team breaking up, that eventually them getting back together and why it's important and shit. So, I can kind of give you the cliff notes. Juan, have you seen the Watchmen movie at all, or no?
Yeah, I watched the movie way back when. I liked it. It was kind of cool.
Okay, so the HBO show is actually like incredibly good. I think people should watch it. But there's like a huge key difference between the movie and the show that's really important to this show. And that is that instead of him blowing up New York using a blue energy that makes him blame it all on Dr. Manhattan, he drops a giant cyclopean squid on Manhattan. It still kills 300 or like 3 million people. It still does a giant psychic blast that damages everybody, but it's a giant alien squid.
Interesting.
The reason that's important is during the show, multiple times people kind of have to get out of the way because a bunch of squids start falling from the sky. And the idea is that he's trying to keep up the illusion that there's this alien race in this alternate dimension that keeps trying to come through, and they can't find a way to really do it again like they did back in 1985 when the giant squid came through.
Right.
And the idea being that all the world governments would be aware of this and then be scared and then not want to kill each other anymore.
I too would be scared of squid people.
It's a giant fucking squid. It like destroys multiple buildings and like phases through others, and then does a psychic blast to the point where people in New Jersey like died from it.
I mean, why didn't they just send Omni-Man in?
Shut up. Anyway, so
Think, squid, think.
Think, squid, think.
So the big part of like that's the main part of the ending that mattered as to the differences between the two, like the two that matters for the show. But also the fact that Dr. Manhattan's a bit of a different character. Adrian Veidt's a bit weird. In this show, Adrian Veidt's played by Jeremy Irons. It's pretty obvious he's Adrian Veidt pretty quickly. The first half of the show, like first 4 or 5 episodes, feel like they have almost nothing to do with the original Watchmen storyline. And then once you get past that point, it becomes more and more involved with the old story. More characters start showing up, like characters past start being involved, and then you start realizing that this is the original Watchmen story.
So is it
still
like,
connected to it?
So is it like the Watchmen, like the original Watchmen, or the Watchmen that the comic is about, like the New Age Watchmen?
First off, there's no group called Watchmen in Watchmen.
No, do you know what I mean though? Like the original group, like the original old lady Green Spectre or whatever.
So they're like dead, Jordan. That was like
that's what I'm
35
asking.
years ago.
That's what I'm asking. Is this taking place 35 years ago, or is this taking place in the where the comic is? The show takes place
in 2019.
Okay, that's all I was asking.
Thank you.
Well, I know I'm dumb, but that's all I was asking.
Anyway, so the show takes place in 2019, not 1985 or whatever Jordan was trying to figure out. Robert Redford is president. Robert Redford is going to become president at the end of Watchmen, but he doesn't right away. He becomes president a bit later. Like 1992 or something. I don't remember when he becomes president. He doesn't become president the first election after 1985 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But he almost does. I don't know if the show or if the movie really addressed it, but like Richard Nixon is president during the entire events of Watchmen.
Makes sense.
And also all the cars are electric. I don't know if the movie bothered to point that part out either.
No, I don't think it did.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
Because because it's like 20 or 30 years after Dr. Manhattan first shows up. He's like when the story takes place, or like when the book takes place, and because of that, they already have like electric cars and like endless energy and stuff, and like solar power and all sorts of shit.
And is that because he started giving people cancer, or is that not related?
No, that's not because of him giving people cancer. Him giving people cancer comes up way later.
And then he'll turn
comes
into
up
a car
in like the middle of the comic. But giving people electric, Jordan, yes, he can turn into a car. But yes, him giving people the technology to have electric cars and shit is the thing that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, it's like a weird part that's kind of missing from the movie, but it's not missing from the show. Everything's fucking electric in the show.
Right.
What was I saying? Robert Redford's president. Silk Spectre shows up in like episode 3. Adrian Veidt's like in it the whole time, but he's in a weird country club, and it's very weird. And everybody else who matters eventually shows up. The villains, the antagonists, are all wearing Rorschach masks, and they're like a group of super racists called the 7th Cavalry.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people apparently took a bunch of issue with this because they're like, Rorschach's not a racist. And I'm like, I guess you only watched the movie because he's racist as fuck in the book. He's very racist. And he, like, so the way the 7th Cavalry is kind of pitched and the way you're supposed to take them is that they're supposed to be these sort of like super cult formed in like the remnants of like the KKK mixed with people who read Rorschach's journal, and Rorschach's journal is very racist, so it's very easy to see how a bunch of racists read his journal and we're like, wow, we know he's on the right track. And put on his mask and then go pretend to be Rorschach or whatever.
Well,
and I think even Alan Moore commented that Rorschach was super racist. I don't know why anybody thought he wasn't.
Yeah.
After people started giving them guff about a bunch of racists taking on his face. But yeah, the show's mostly about a detective, Detective Knight, who is a female superhero detective, kind of. Like the cops in universe wear superhero get-ups, and the premise is that because of the White Knight, which is when the 7th Cavalry put on their Rorschach masks, invaded all the police's homes and shot them, that the police now needed to hide their identities and thereby became quasi superheroes.
Do they all wear different costumes, or do they all just wear one, like, police uniform costume?
The detectives wear their own costumes, and standard police wear just a green mask over their face.
Okay. Well,
I know, in the real world it doesn't make any sense, but we're talking about a world where there was a very famous group, or two very famous group of superheroes who actually went about trying to save the world, and both groups had Dr. Manhattan in them for a little bit, who could basically rewrite DNA and shit.
And give them cancer.
Yeah, it caused people's heads to explode. Like, heads explode. That's what he did. He went to Vietnam and blew up all the Viet Cong's heads, and that's how he won.
Yeah, I think that actually, I don't think that's exactly what happened in the movie, but I think there's a flashback of them going to Vietnam or something.
Yeah, there is a that part is in.
Yeah,
there is. So he does blow up their heads in the movie. Okay.
He's like 10 stories tall and like vaporizing people.
Yeah,
He
the
does that in
vaporizing,
Vietnam.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and Vietnam becomes our like 51st state or something.
Uh-huh.
That's all. I'm pretty sure most of that's in the movie. I don't remember if the Vietnam becoming a state is in the movie, but I'm pretty sure it's in the book.
It might not have been stated or anything like that, where it's like outright, you know.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it is in the movie, or in the book. But anyway, yeah, if you have any interest in the show, I definitely advise you to watch it. It's only a single season of like 10 episodes. There's no more outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to take the time, definitely read the Watchmen graphic novel before you watch it. But if you don't, I hope I summed up most of the differences between the movie and the novel before you do.
Right. So that people will actually be able to enjoy the show without actually having to read the whole book? Is that
Yeah, it's not that long to read. It's pretty short, but it's also like really good. Like it's definitely worth your time. But it's got Alan Moore-isms. Like if you've ever read an Alan Moore work, you kind of know what to expect, which is like a bunch of weird shock fiction for almost no reason. A lot of violence, people exploding, people fucking for no reason.
Mm-hmm. That's the main part. That's the part everyone's interested in.
That's all that happened. Every Alan Moore-ism is in Watchmen. But it's worth it. I definitely would read the book before watching the movie if I had time, or watching the show. But definitely you should watch the show. The show's very good.
Well, the book's not even that thick. It's what, like half the size of even a single compendium of Invincible.
If that, I think it's even smaller.
Yeah, so it wouldn't even take, like, if you were just reading it, it'd only take like maybe a few days if you're just reading it like 10 minutes a day or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't take you very long. It's very good. It's worth the time. Can't read it at work though, for obvious reasons.
Well, if you're sitting in your car, you can, technically.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what I do with Invincible. I just read it in my car. I obviously can't take that into work. I'd probably get in trouble.
And I just put your back in a corner.
Well, you see, where they put me, Juan, I don't know, because you said you don't know the layout anymore.
No.
But where they put me, there's literally a door that everybody and their mother walk in right behind me, so I can't do shit. I can't look at porn, I can't play World of Warcraft, I can't do nothing except work on my work computer.
That's fucking lame.
I know, right? What's the point of doing work on your work computer, man?
God.
It was like when I was watching a podcast about the guys from Death Battle or whatever, and their producer was like, they're one of the guys in charge of the show, and the producer was like, the first desk he picks is the one that faces towards his boss's office, so that like if his boss is looking out, he would only see the back of the monitor. And like he picked that one before anybody else was allowed to pick any of their spots.
That's funny.
And he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "You know why I did that." Because that's the smartest thing to do if you work in an office, is to pick the one where the back of your monitor faces your boss.
Right, so they can't see what you're doing. Not that I would do any of that while I'm at work, though. That's not.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
I was thinking about going to Fiverr and trying to see if I could find somebody to animate that whole segment Jordan did about how much he loves Blood Elves.
Oh, yeah.
And then someone animate it to him stroking a Blood Elf body pillow.
How did you know I had one of those? I didn't buy that on your Amazon account.
And then we'll put, like, hire one of those artists.
One of those artists?
Yeah, one of those artists.
Yeah, you know what kind of artist he's talking about. Yeah, we all know.
But you get the one in between. The one, not the one they use to advertise their Patreon. The one in between that you also get by paying for their Patreon, but it's not the one that people actually pay their Patreon for.
Uh-huh.
And then you get them that middle one, and you pay, like, hire a bunch of them to, like, give you a bunch of those, and then you, like, put Jordan's room in the animation, and you put them on all over the walls. That way it's still safe for YouTube.
And that'll just be our podcast background from then on.
Yeah, and then it'll do the "Are you winning yet, son?" meme, but it'll be you. It'll be you, but you're like only on the character creation of Blood Elves, and you're just spinning them around really slowly.
Right.
Everybody is like, "That's not even that dirty. It's just really weird."
Makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I know?
Wow. What would be
Anyway,
worse than that, though?
What would be worse than that is stuff I couldn't show on YouTube.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, you want to talk about the ending to Invincible?
The show, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anyone who's currently watching Invincible who hasn't seen it yet.
Oh no.
Who actually wants to see it. My bad.
One should watch it. It's great. It's a good show.
It is.
Yeah,
it
I'm
really
being
is.
super tempted by the memes. Like, I just need to sit down and do it. It looks pretty good.
So it's the memes that get you in. I see. It's not the story or the plot or us telling you how good it is. It's the memes. That's good.
Well, the plot was definitely intriguing. Like, right from the get-go. I'm all for the, superhero gone bad kind of angle. And then I saw the memes. I'm like, okay, these are some fire memes. And then somebody posted basically the scene at the end of the first episode where he just takes it to the wannabe Justice League, and I'm like, okay, that was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. Yeah, I guess spoilers for season 1, but season 1's maybe like the first 20% of the story, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If even that.
Well, it has some parts from like later stories and stuff, but it's mostly
true. But like it's complicated. I have no idea how they're planning to pace it after this point.
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out after season 2.
It's a bit. With things being rearranged how they're going. It's like it's one of those alternate reality type deals. So we don't really know what they're gonna do next. Instead of just following the comic, I mean, obviously from the ending of the last episode, the after the credits scene, we know what's going to happen. But we don't know when it's going to happen or what could be happening as well.
Yeah, those are going to be... I'm thinking those are all going to be single episode stories. And I think the overarching story in season 2 is going to be Angstrom Levy.
It's just... Okay, so... spoiler for the comic as well as the show for anyone who hasn't read like the first compendium and doesn't know season 2. The Reanimen.
Well, hold on 1 second. The first compendium is issue like 0 through 49 or 47.
Yeah.
It's vaguely important that people also know roughly how far of the thing we're talking about.
Yeah, because I just opened up the second one and it starts on 48, so...
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of ones jammed in the middle. There's like 0. There's like the packed side story thing. And... Anyway, what were you saying about the Reanimen?
The Reanimen are one of the things that sets Mark off. So, if it's gonna have anything to do with like the Reanimen and the new Darkwing, which I don't know, it didn't show the new Darkwing in the after credits scene of the last episode or anything, but it showed the Reanimen with Cecil standing over it and all that stuff, and that's what sets Invincible off to leave the organization and get like pissed off and almost beat Cecil to death. So it's like, I feel like the second season might be at least going into the part where Invincible's just no longer wanting to be a hero. Well, I know at the end of the first season he's kind of like at the point where he doesn't really want to be a hero, but where he's seriously not wanting to be a hero.
And that's all fine, but I still think that Angstrom Levy is going to be the main arc.
Well, yeah, Angstrom Levy's gonna give him the whole I killed somebody thing, and then where he's going to the point where sometimes he thinks it's okay.
Yeah, because because Angstrom Levy, his events with Angstrom Levy are what make him come to terms with the Rhiannon ship.
Right.
Or what? Shit, because
the first Angstrom Levy encounter comes before the Rhiannon. It's the second one comes
it
after.
Comes before he encounters the Rhiannon working for Cecil.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not the first encounter. The first encounter with the Rhiannon, he is.
Because they're like, that's different or whatever, and they're like, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Invincible. I mostly wanted to talk about the first season, but I keep randomly bringing up the later parts of the comic.
Sorry,
but
that one was my fault though.
Yeah, I still feel like Angstrom Levy's at least going to be a part of season 2.
It might just be like his first encounter, and then like ending of season 2, going into season 3, like how they just ended season 1. It'd be Angstrom Levy at the end, like after the credits, bringing in all the other stuff that he does, like his second, like where he secondly comes in.
Yeah, the war that almost kills everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what they definitely confirmed is that the Martian invasion part happens. I guess the multi-pol part is going to happen, but it's not really sure which part it's going to happen in.
I think, well, he's already in jail in season 1.
Yeah. Whereas in the comic, he goes to jail because he attacks Rex.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird.
Yeah, so is he gonna break out of jail, attack Rex, and then go to jail again?
Yeah.
But I assume that's why at the end of the ending credits scene it showed the dragon guy just already pissed off at Titan because Paul's been in jail for so long, it seems.
Yeah. But he just switched, so I don't know. One of the things about the season 1 is the animation isn't always the best, but...
Well, that's true for a lot of shows, though.
Yeah, but the acting carries it to where you can give it a pass.
Right. J.K. Simmons just carries the whole show. Which kind of sucks, because he's probably not going to be a huge part in season 2.
Well, he's going to have a huge part in season 2, and that's probably his only part.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's going to be in it for, like, that huge part, and then he's going to be gone for most of it.
Yeah, it's going to be like an episode or 2 episodes.
Uh-huh.
But then it'll depend on how much of the Alan storyline happens in season 2.
That and how much of how much it goes on to what actually happened, like with Omni-Man.
Yes. So the thing about Invincible that you learn from like reading the whole thing without spoiling anything is that Invincible is kind of about like what's the right thing to do. That's kind of what Invincible is about. Like, is it right to be in charge because you're the strongest, or is it right to be in charge because you're the smartest, or is it right to be in charge because you're already in charge? Like, that's a lot of what Invincible is about, is like trying to figure out where you should stand with power and how you're supposed to use it.
And when you're supposed to cross the line of, like, when you can't go back and stuff like that. Like with killing people, that's a big one.
Whether or not you can come back and stuff like that. That's all of Invincible. Invincible's story is about just being right and what makes you right and how you achieve it and what you do with power.
Right.
Absolute power doesn't corrupt, it reveals, kind of thing.
Right.
So that's why he's telling Mark to think.
Think, Mark, think.
Yeah, his whole thing, the whole part about Omni-Man, especially in season 1, because as compared to the book version, in the show, very much Omni-Man is conflicted about who he is from birth when he comes to Earth, or from when he was born to when he comes to Earth, and who he is after Mark is born.
Mm-hmm.
And those two ideas of himself are in conflict with each other.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like his whole thing throughout season 1 is like trying to decide which of him is the right him.
Like in the comic, you don't really see. I mean, you see Omni-Man. He's Mark's dad, but you don't really see like all the things going on with him like you do in the show. Like, for instance, when Omni-Man kills the Guardians of the Globe in the first episode, he has the whole rest of the season, which is 8 episodes, between then and his confrontation with Mark. Whereas in the comic, he kills the Guardians of the Globe. It's like 1 or 2 issues later, his whole conflict with Mark. Like, it's not even that far apart, and it's straight out. And so you don't really see, like, all the things going through Omni-Man, like him trying to cover it up or anything. He doesn't even do that. Whereas in the show, he's, like, trying to hide it and trying to pretend it wasn't him and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, until he admits that it is him, and then he's trying to, like, kind of justify it to everybody.
Yeah. In the comic, he doesn't even do that.
Yeah. And there's a huge part in the show about him trying to, like, get his wife to be on his side, that he needs to be in charge and let him do it.
Yeah.
The conflict, him trying to convince Mark more in the show is very much coming across as compared to the comic where it's like, yeah, you could just snap Mark's neck and move on and have a new kid.
Yeah. That's pretty much what he... Like, the whole thing where he's like, think, Mark, think, that doesn't... I mean, it does. But that doesn't happen the way it happens, like, in the comic. In the comic, he's like... He's just beating the shit out of Mark, trying to tell him, you could either be a part of this, or you could die. And then that's pretty much the whole conversation they have. Where in the comic... No, in the show, it's like... Look, Mark, these lives are so insignificant. Watch as you are forced to kill them. Type deal.
Yeah, I mean, he does do similar things. Like, he does, like, kind of try to make that same point. Like, look how insignificant these people are.
Right.
That's why that whole think, Mark, think conversation happens in both versions, is the significance of human life and how short it is compared to their lives, because they're going to live for thousands upon thousands of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a difference to how the fight. In the comic, it's very much like an undertone to the fight, one that's easy to miss.
Whereas in the show, it's the main
like
thing.
It's everything. It's there the whole time. At no point does it let you go, think that this isn't a conflict to him. This isn't hard for him to do.
Yeah. Like, just the scene. The animation is actually kind of funny, and that's what is kind of fucked up about it. But the scene where Omni-Man's just holding Mark's head up to the train as he just bursts through the train and Mark flails his arms, murdering every person. The loop of Mark is funny because it just looks like he should not be flailing his arms like that. But the whole thing is how fucked up it is that it just... People just splat on his face and his arms and everything.
Yeah, that he can't even, like...
He can't even stop himself from killing them. He's trying.
He's just reflexively acting to the fact that things are flying at his face and it's just killing people.
Yeah. If you've seen the loop, it's fucked up, but the way it's animated looks kind of funny.
Yeah, that's true for a lot of that show. Like, the way it's animated looks a bit silly.
Right.
Like the what is it? The time when they have to escape Mars? It's just like a little picture of him that they're moving around the background.
Yeah. Oh well. Maybe they didn't have as big of a budget as they thought.
Well, I think that their budget, like, you can see where the money is spent. I think is what happens with the show.
Right.
I'm hoping in season 2 they get like a much bigger budget. They've been greenlit, I think, up to season 3 so far. So
if it doesn't end with season 3, because it's obviously not one season per compendium, because that barely even it barely touched the first compendium really. So
the flaxen part in Compendium 2 or 1?
Which one's the flaxen part again?
The people who like age differently. You'll know exactly what
you mean
flaxen
the
part I'm
aliens?
talking about. Yeah, the green aliens.
Right, I think that's in Compendium 1.
No, not when they show up. You know which flaxen part I'm talking about if by what I'm saying.
Okay, then no, I don't think so.
Then no, you don't know it yet, yeah.
Then yeah, it must be in Compendium 2, yeah. I'm like
You'll know
halfway
it,
through
like,
Compendium 2.
But maybe it's the ending of Compendium 2.
Okay.
It's before Dinosaurus and everything. Dinosaurus is the very end.
I just got Dinosaurus. I just unlocked him. I just got that new fighter, Dinosaurus. His combos are kind of weird, but I mean, I just got him.
No. Never mind. So Dinosaurus shows up somewhere early in Compendium 2, but he sticks around and he becomes a major plot point at the end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I barely remember anything that I read like 8 years ago from when I first read
Vegas
this.
hasn't happened yet, right?
Vegas? No.
Yeah, see. The Dinosaurus doesn't really start until Vegas happens.
Right, okay. Yeah, I'm just at, like, the last issue I read, I think last night, was just the part where Dinosaurus, and it's like the first time Mark's like, am I actually gonna make the choice to kill this person for the greater good type deal?
Yeah. So the second Martian invasion hasn't happened yet?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I wonder what's going to happen there in the show. Like, because some of those plot lines, like, they work for a comic book to bring this part back to, like, show something. But it's like, do we do this again in the show? Like, they didn't bring back Doc Seismic after the first time they used him, but they are bringing him back in season 2.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they're bringing him back at the place that he got brought back in the comic. It's not like they're skipping over what happened.
I mean,
because
yeah,
the Magma Men and the underground people, that's where he comes back. He doesn't come back in between that.
That's true, but the problem is some of the other points happen after that.
Right, yeah. True. Okay.
I don't know. So there's a lot of crazy shit that's gonna happen in Invincible. Season 2, I'm looking forward to it. I think season 1 was great. I think it also shows that having the original creator work on your show is a very important thing.
Yeah, because he can even make. Well, I think that's what he's doing. He's making like new plot points where it's like even the people that are fans of the show will still get excited about because they don't fully know what's going to happen just because they read the comic. Whereas a lot of shows that adapt comics, when they don't have the original show, they just go like in a linear path from what the comic, whatever they want to do, or they just read one comic and just pretend that's good enough. Like with Batman v Superman.
Or they do like what was Batman doing, where it just kind of tries to do its own thing, but it's also trying to run parallel to the themes of the comic book.
You mean Batman the Animated Series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it created like a shitload of characters that eventually became characters in the comic book.
Yeah.
Or had their storylines rewritten to match their animated series counterparts. Speaking of Batman the Animated Series, I was watching that recently with Kira. We got to the first episode with Robin. Robin just shows up, by the way.
Yeah, there's no explanation or anything.
The most explanation you get is like a picture of him with Bruce Wayne in the background. But that's not like the big problem. The funniest thing I find about this episode. So in this first episode with Robin, where he just shows up, Batman like falls off a building and does his like grapnel hook swing. And he goes into a room, an open window, and he tumbles into someone's apartment. And the lady's like, "Oh my!" And she like jumps up because she's just wearing a bathrobe. But then she sees it's Batman, and then she leans forward, exposing her chest, and goes, "Oh my!" And then Batman walks out of the room, smiles at her, and closes the door.
I mean, he might be Batman, but he's also a billionaire playboy philanthropist. You know?
That show's made for like 12-year-olds.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, but remember back then, you know, they had little adult jokes and they didn't have every sports mother complaining about it.
That's true. Every Karen.
Yeah. About every little
It's just one of those scenes
hint
that, like,
at an
caught me
adult.
off guard, where I was like, okay.
Right.
And then like there's the next episode, like where he like helps some kids, and then their mom comes downstairs and she sees Batman and she's like, "Oh, it's Batman," and she's like kind of scared, but then like really interested in him. It's like they draw her very obviously that now she's really attracted to Batman.
Uh-huh.
And you're kind of like, really? Did Batman write this show?
Yeah, he did.
It's written from his perspective. George just walks into a room and every woman swoons over him.
I mean, it's fun.
I mean, isn't that
It
how?
happens in the show all the time when he's Bruce Wayne.
Well,
But
yeah.
it's really funny when it happens when he's Batman.
But doesn't that happen like in one of the movies, the one with what's his name, the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Poison Ivy? Didn't that happen where like half the women in the movie just wanted
Those are
to...
different movies.
Oh. It's just okay. So the one I'm probably confusing it with the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. The thing is, they're just, I don't know why, but I just confuse those two movies so much. Batman Returns and Batman and Robin. I think those are the two movies that I always confuse.
Yeah, I think it's... Is it Val Kilmer in Batman Returns?
Who does Val Kilmer play in Batman Returns?
Batman.
Oh. And Michael Keaton in Batman and Robin?
No. George Clooney.
George Clooney. When is Michael Keaton him?
The original.
Just Batman?
Yes.
Okay.
George Clooney is Batman in Batman.
Okay. I just get all those old movies confused, apparently. Can't even keep track of one of them.
Wait, no, it's not Batman Returns. Batman Returns.
No,
is
Batman
the
Forever.
One... Yeah.
Did I say Batman
Forever,
Returns?
maybe.
I meant Batman Forever.
Batman Returns is still Michael Keaton.
Okay. Anyway, we wanted to talk about that Biomutant or whatever, didn't you?
I was right. Yeah, it's Val Kilmer in Batman Forever.
Okay.
But yes.
Think, Jordan, think.
Okay. So, Juan, tell me what you know about that new game that you wanted to talk about, because you were the main one that brought it to my attention.
Yeah, it's one of those like games that's kind of like really flown under the radar, I feel like, which I guess is par for the course for a lot of THQ's games. Now that I'm looking at their title list here, I mean, shit like Darksiders was big, but like, you know, it wasn't like the most played game back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have like a bunch of other random ones like Elex, Gothic, fucking Destroy All Humans apparently.
Oh, I didn't know they made Destroy All Humans.
Yeah, dude. Kingdoms of
Yeah.
Amalur, which is another game I was really into back in the day. Titan Quest. So they have a pretty lengthy list of games they made, so that makes me even a little more hyped for it. But the too long didn't read for what the game's about is it's another post-apocalyptic, but apparently there's like this giant world tree that is like the center of all life in the universe, but like there's this weird like icky mutatey stuff that's like seeping out of the ground and it's starting to pollute the roots.
Uh-huh.
So your character is supposed to go and figure out what's causing this little mutation and stop it.
And your character is a mutated furry.
Yeah, you're like this little weird like just furry creature thing. What's really interesting is the emphasis on the character customization they kind of gone for. So like it starts off, you pick like one of like I think it's like 5 or 6 base races, and they all kind of have like their different like animal-like features to them.
Oh.
But then, unlike your typical RPG, where it's like, okay, do you want to put points into strength or dex or whatever? They basically give you like one of those little circular like things where you pick like which direction you want to go in. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Not sure if it's like an actual.
Like in I know you probably don't know this reference, but anyone who's ever played Ragnarok Online, I think they know the base way it looks. Like it's the little hexagonal thing where you kind of go in one direction, it kind of reduces the stat in the other direction.
Yeah. But when you move that around between the different stats, it actually changes how your character looks.
Oh, that's
so like
pretty
if you
cool.
go to your character will be like, stocky and strong looking. If you go to like Dex, he'll be lean and quick. If you go to like Intelligence, he gets a really big head for his big brain. Like, so it's kind of cool. And then
speaking of Angstrom Levy,
and then they break it down to like I think 5 classes, and then kind of shitty. There's one class that's locked behind the pre-order bonus.
Oh.
So.
A whole class? Yeah. Like, I understand, like, cosmetics and shit being locked behind that stuff, but a whole, like, gameplay perspective, that sucks.
Yeah, that's, like, the only big negative I've really seen so far. But outside of that, it plays like your typical open-world RPG. There's main storyline, there's tons of side quests, tons of exploration. Apparently, like that mutating stuff out in the world, you can go and interact with it, and it'll actually give you like new abilities and character customization. So you can choose to mutate yourself even further if you want to. And apparently, it is going to also utilize a karma system, kind of like how Fallout did, or Fallout 3 more specifically. So there's supposed to be 2 major endings as well.
I see. Well, that's. I do look forward to it, because it's like THQ is also like, I think I told you guys, well, you know this, but they make like the Warhammer games, like they made before. They made God, why can't I remember it? The rat one, the rat infestation one, where you kill a bunch of rats.
Oh, Vermintide?
Vermintide, yes.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead, but Warhammer.
Yeah. Fucking. Why can't I think of anything with a V anymore?
I don't know, dude.
Just too many V words that are stuck in my head. All I can think of is Viltrum now.
Vermintide is Fat Shark, Jordan.
Oh, really? I thought it was THQ.
No, Fat Shark is the guys behind War of the Roses.
Oh, my bad. I'm crediting the wrong people for the wrong game. My bad.
That's why the melee combat plays the way it does, is because that's how it played in War of the Roses. Well, it's kind of how it played in War of the Roses.
I see. So what did THQ make? They made Total War, didn't they?
No.
No.
That's Sega.
So what the fuck did THQ do?
THQ, the original THQ, this is not THQ Nordic, is the ones who are responsible for all of the Dawn of War series and Space Marine.
Right.
And don't forget Battle for Bikini Bottom.
Their best work of art ever.
I'm pretty sure that's THQ Nordic.
Yep.
Not to be confused with THQ.
Well, maybe the original? I don't know. Who knows?
Battle for Bikini Bottom, the greatest game in the world. Number 1.
But now most... whatchamacallit, a lot of Warhammer stuff is handled by Cyanide, I think? The guys who do Blood Bowl and stuff like that.
That makes sense. They're probably a little better with like story and stuff, huh?
Well, mostly they just do Blood Bowl.
Right. Never mind anything I say,
they did Styx, which is very Warhammer-esque.
I like Styx. It's very fun.
And of Orcs and Men, which is like kind of a prequel to Styx, or a sequel to Styx, I guess. But it's an RPG about orcs. It has nothing to do with Styx outside of the fact that he exists, and then it eventually has everything to do with Styx, and then you're like, what the fuck?
I know we already went away from the Battle of Bikini Bottom topic, but it's funny, the Think Mark Think meme, I've seen so many, but I didn't see one of SpongeBob. There might be one of SpongeBob, and I've just missed it, but I don't think I saw one of SpongeBob. and I find that
know
funny.
I saw one, but I can't remember what it was.
Was it like
Okay.
SpongeBob on the ground, and it was what Squidward? Oh, I did see one. It was SpongeBob and Patrick on the ground, and it was that guy from the episode that screamed out "chocolates," and he was just like,
Nice.
"Yeah, it's stupid, but it's funny. I don't know. I don't care. It's funny."
Hey man, that's memes for you.
I don't know. It's just a very funny meme. I don't know why it's funny, but it's funny.
It's the banger memes. Like, you can put it with anything.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
So is that it, Zach? Is that all we want to say?
I think so. Oh, I could.
Oh,
I
you good?
briefly want to mention Blood Bowl and Blood Bowl 2.
Okay, go ahead.
Has one of you ever played Blood Bowl?
No, but I get the gist. It's like Warhammer football or some shit like that.
Kind of. It's very, very brutal Warhammer football.
Mhm.
It's sort of like it's a version of the Warhammer universe where the NFL player handbook fell through a portal and wound up there, and then they decided to dedicate their life to trying to play it. Yeah, that's kind of how it happens, and they all pray to the great god Nuffle, which is
NFL.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Blood Bowl 2. So the thing about Blood Bowl is that it's a really, really old game. They did pretty poorly, or did okay, and then like Games Workshop couldn't keep it going, so they basically canceled it. And then they brought it back within like the last decade or so, or 2 decades. And so Blood Bowl 2 is the video game version where it has the most accurate to the classic rule set of Blood Bowl from like 1986 or whatever. Or 1990s. Whenever it came out. So that's what Blood Bowl 2 is. It's the original rule set as close as possible to it in video game form. So they announced Blood Bowl 3 a bit ago, and Blood Bowl 3 is actually a completely different game because it is Blood Bowl based on the brand new rule set that Games Workshop came out with for it.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. So is that a good or a bad thing?
Both. The problem I have is that it's being called Blood Bowl 3 when it's really not Blood Bowl 3 because it's not the third iteration on a series, it's its own thing.
Gotcha.
It should be called like Blood Bowl New Edition or something, like New Rules Edition.
That doesn't
Because
just
that's basically what it is.
that doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well as Blood Bowl 3 though.
Yes, but it's more accurate.
Football, New Age or some shit.
And,
I don't know.
like
Yeah.
maybe
Blood
they
Bowl
call it
Age
like
of Sigmar.
something like that, yeah. Something with like a subtitle, not
Just ruin people's day.
Blood Bowl 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. So anyway, so Blood Bowl 2. So they're going to be completely different games. So anybody who likes Blood Bowl 2 might not like Blood Bowl 3, and anybody who would like Blood Bowl 3 might not like Blood Bowl 2. Because they're not similar even remotely, and it's worth having both, I would say, if you like both.
Well, you just
I like
said
Blood
that
Bowl a
people may not like 3 if they like
Yeah, you
2,
might not
but-
like either, but they're very different games.
Okay. Well, okay.
Or you might like both. I'm probably going to wind up owning both because I probably want to play Blood Bowl 3 someday.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna want to try it. I just hope I can get into it a little better than I got into Blood Bowl 2. It's just, I mean, it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that it didn't keep my attention.
Yeah. And for some people, it's got the whole Warhammer thing of one bad roll.
And you're fucked. Yeah.
Like, I've had one where it's happened before, where you're rolling a d6 for a go for it. If you roll a 1, you trip. If you roll anything else, you succeed. You roll a 1 and it tripped, and then it was like, okay, now roll to see if your armor broke. It's like, oh, my armor broke. And it's like, okay, now roll to see if you got an injury. And it's like, oh, I got a serious injury. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then you roll a serious injury, and it's like, oh, your player's dead.
Yep.
I just tried to move 1 square further than... normal.
That's what you get. That's what you get for overextending.
Just lose the whole player.
See where your greed has gotten you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things you can do, which is really funny, it's great when it works and it's hilarious when it fails, is you get the ball and you do a handoff to a goblin. Goblin gets grabbed by Troll. Troll throws Goblin across the pitch, and then the Goblin runs and scores the touchdown.
You said you did that once, I believe you said, right?
I've done it a few times actually. It's pretty. It's not as hard to succeed as it feels like it is.
Oh, okay. But you said that the failure was like they eat the goblin or some shit like that.
That is a failure condition, yes. So you have to roll so many dice. So you have to. What you have to do is you have to. The way that turn works. You pick the goblin. He grabs the ball. He has to roll the ball for pickup. Then he moves over next to the other goblin. Then you have to roll the ball for a handoff. Then
roll the dice for a handoff.
Yeah, you have to roll the dice. So one's rolling. So yeah, the other guy is rolling a catch roll, which is like his agility stat, which is like 3. So you have to roll above a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then the troll grabs the goblin. He can do this without rolling any. No, he has to roll 1 dice. If he rolls a 1, he fails to do anything because he's really stupid. If you roll anything above a 1, he picks up the goblin. Then you throw to roll the goblin. Your troll has an agility of 1, so his throw is pretty bad. Then your goblin has to make a natural agility roll where he has to not roll below a 3, I think it is. Or below, I think below a 3. He has to not roll below a 3 to stick the landing. Otherwise, he'll stick the landing. Also, I need to go back a step. When you select to throw from the troll, he rolls 2 dice. He first rolls a dice to see if he tries to eat the goblin. Then he rolls a dice to see if he'll actually throw the goblin successfully. Then the goblin has to make a agility check to see whether or not he lands from being thrown. Then the goblin can run, and then hopefully he's not in anyone's tackle zone, so he doesn't have to make a bunch of dodges. Yeah, it's kind of gross. It's really funny when it pulls off. It's also such a high chance of you just failing because you have to roll so many dice.
Mm-hmm.
When he eats the goblin suffers an injury, so you do the injury roll table. It's entirely possible that he just gets back up and gets because he got knocked over.
And then you just try again.
It's also entirely possible he eats the goblin and the goblin dies.
Nice. Such is the way of, the greenies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are trolls technically greenskins?
Yeah. No.
They're not, right? Not like they're. What are they made of? They're like kind of like dwarves, where they're like made of stone or some shit, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
And the greenskins are all made of mushrooms, so yeah, they're not the same. But but greenskins use them because they're big and bulky. And
everybody uses them. Greenskins, goblin teams use them. Underworld teams use them.
So greenskins and chaos.
Underworld is not chaos.
Oh, what's Underworld?
Underworld is goblins and Skaven.
So greenskins. Greenskins use trolls, yes.
I think there's another race that uses them that isn't greenskins, but I can't remember which one it is. I know Norse does in mythology, but I don't know if Norse does in Blood Bowl.
I see.
Because if you play Total Warhammer, there is a Norse troll, but...
I see.
Ooh.
Okay.
But also, the caveat for Blood Bowl is that because it is Games Workshop, it means everybody, or every dwarf, is overpowered.
Why is that a Games Workshop thing?
I don't know, but dwarves are always overpowered as shit.
Why?
I don't know.
No, I mean, what's so overpowered about them? Not why. I said why, but
you mean in Blood Bowl, every single person starts with like thick skull and block.
So like even like runners and shit.
Yes, every player.
I see.
It's stupid. They're stupid strong. They're fucking stupid. I hate them. Fucking, you go against a dwarf team, you're like, I'm gonna concede so I don't lose 3 of my players.
This is starting to sound like my Blood Elf rant.
Yeah, except it's more legitimate.
Okay, maybe we should edit you saying you love dwarves and want to fucking have a dwarf body pillow. How about
that? Because I edit the videos?
True. Also, a dwarf body pillow would just probably be a regular pillow.
It can be a fucking stone fucker if he wants.
Have a rock on his bed. That's a dwarf. That's a dwarf body pillow. Just a fucking rock.
Just a particularly ovalesque boulder.
Okay. Okay, Zach, Raziel, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at razielsomething.com and on razielsomething at Twitter and razielsomething at Facebook. And I hate dwarves. And I write fiction, and you guys should come and read it. It's pretty fun.
Cool. Is that it?
I guess so.
Alright! Cleric, tell them where they can find you!
Aye, laddie, they can find me slapping the tits off some fucking knife ears.
Okay, is that it? For your racism against elves?
Aye.
Okay. Spider-Matt, tell them where they can find you! Great! And then you can find me, Stupid Nerdman, right here on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/StupidNerdman. Or, where you're probably more likely to watch this, on our Stupid Nerdcast YouTube channel. YouTube on the Stupid Nerdcast channel. Look us up, and that's probably where you're watching this anyway. So, thank you for watching! Bye-bye!